Race 2 of the weekend here at Misano in the GT2 European Series, powered by Pirelli. It is for the SRO Trophy. As nice and early, the cars make their way out onto the grid for the second of these two 50-minute races. And in these temperatures, it's going to be a little bit more bearable perhaps than yesterday. It's still hot. Temperature outside 27.1 degrees. It's going to be hotter in the cars, but not quite as bad as it was yesterday afternoon when they first raced. Yesterday's race on the road, won by Luca Piri and Celia Martin, but they were disqualified post-race for the car being underweight, and it meant that Marius-Eigner and Reinhard Koffler took their first victory of the season. Reinhard Koffler's first win for a couple of seasons, former champion, and Marius-Eigner's first win within GT2, first outright win. Today's grid is based on the second qualifying session, but with grid drops aplenty. A number of which came for people going too quickly under the red flag that came in the qualifying session. And poor old Oliver Freimut has got a 5-place grid drop because of assorted infractions. He's now accrued 3 behavioural warning points, and for that you get a grid drop as well. So actually, it's only loosely based on the times that were set in qualifying because of the amount of shuffling that's gone on behind. What it does give us is J. Mo Hertling on pole position. And there you can see the car that won effectively yesterday. It did win, but was second over the line, but it inherited the win, and it's going to be started today, the KTM, by Reinhard Koffler. But because it won yesterday, it gets 10 seconds of extra compensation time in the pits. The pit window being 20 to 30 minutes. There's a delta time that everybody has to adhere to, and then if you're in the top 3, then you get this compensation time as well. Yesterday's race was a rather long one, because it's an hour and a half for a 50-minute race. It included a red flag, and that was because we had Antoine Potty go off at turn 10 and do not only quite a lot of damage to the barrier, but a lot of damage to his car. And a legacy of that, to no one's great surprise, is that it has had to be withdrawn from today's race. David Addison and Joe Osborne are trackside, and as the grid starts to form, we've been reflecting already this season, Joe, on the fact that GT2 is having its best season yet. New cars, new drivers, new teams, bigger grids, and ultimately better racing.
Yeah, and we saw that yesterday, didn't we? And it's the diversity of racing that we seem to love so much in GT2. The Ginettas look so strong over a lap, but in race trims seem to struggle with their straight line performance. Similar could be said about this KTM, but our winners now from yesterday's race. So it shows you that top line speed isn't all out important around here at Misano. And with the cars generating their lap times in such different ways, it's quite a hard race sometimes to call to see where the results are going to come from. Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that people complain about the BOP is that, you know, nobody has an outright advantage. But one of the fascinations is that, as you say, you can see that some cars are strong in a straight line, others are good through the corners. Ginetta was saying yesterday, Lawrence Tomlinson, the Ginetta boss, saying that their BOP had kind of hit them in a straight line, but they could really use that car through the corners. Trouble is, there's quite a lot of power parts to this circuit.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as you're held up behind a car that's not as quick in the corner as you, you've lost your chance to make the lap time work for you. Whereas this Mercedes is most probably the fastest at the end of the straights. It had a huge advantage at Monza at the start of the year. It's been negated somewhat. The Maserati has been given some straight line performance, as has the Audi. So yeah, again, the balance of performance when you're in the car never feels right, but when you watch it from the outside, it does show you what a good job the whole committee do, and there's a huge amount of work that goes behind the scenes, obviously, to make the balance of performance as good as it is.
And everybody wants parity, as long as that is parity a tenth of a second slower than you. So trying to cut through what teams are playing in order to get the best BOP is always part of it. But it has worked well, and as I say, bigger grids than ever. Real shame that we lost Antoine Potty, because he was leading the race yesterday and he had some failure that put him off. It wasn't a mistake, he just grazed the curb, which unsettled the car, but it was more than that that fired him off the road.
Yeah, it was huge, wasn't it? The car basically just didn't stop for him through turns 9 and 10. He was almost a gymnast, wasn't he? He vaulted the barrier, and maybe even made contact with a tree. There was some bark missing, wasn't there? The circuit did a good job at repairing the barrier in pretty speedy time, and unfortunately for us, it's the second time in 2 years, isn't it? We've had a lengthy delay due to barrier damage. Yeah,
the i4 race team withdrawing the car from today because of the damage sustained after the attack on the tree. i4 race having branched out, one might say, from rallying into racing this year, and tree felling service is now on offer as well. Right, the safety car heads to its park place, which is going to be near turn 14. So if it's a drama on the first lap, it can scoop them up before the cars get there on lap 2, and that will leave the lead car again from Maserati, to bring them round in formation for the rolling start. So 50-minute race, mandatory pit stops between 20 and 30 minutes. The base time is 155 seconds, and then you add on the compensation time for being in the top 3 and extra compensation time if you are a solo driver. Why? Because you've got a bit of an advantage. You know what the car feels like, you know what the track feels like. So you're up to speed fractionally faster in your second stint than an incoming driver.
Yeah, exactly that. But it's physically demanding for those solo drivers. Philip Pret is probably our standout solo, isn't he? And reigning champion as well. So he has to work double hard.
I was just thinking, though, it's always been a feature of GT2 that you have drivers that want to go solo. And quite often they are the older gentleman racer. Henry Hassid a few years ago was another one who only once, I think, at one event did he race with his son. But otherwise, in the 2 or 3 years he spent in the championship, he was always a solo driver, always used to say how tired he was at the end of the race, but absolutely maximised the track time available to him. Yeah,
I guess they know they're getting towards the end of their career, unfortunately, so they want to maximise how much time they've got left, and it's the right attitude to have. It's the opposite to when you get stuck behind a slow person walking that's old. You're like, you're so close to death, surely you should be moving faster.
Let's get to the grid. Bryn Lucas is down there, and he's in and amongst the drivers for us.
Crossed the line, took the victory yesterday, and then had the disappointment to find out that it would be taken away through to too much weight in the car. Not enough weight in the car, sorry. It would be nice to have too much weight, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's a shame. It's a mistake for sure. But, you know, I mean, it's the first time for me to be disqualified, first of all, so there is always a first time. But then you know, like I said, it doesn't change what happened on track, for sure, yes. It was a lot missing. But still, you know, what happened and what I did, I'm very still proud of this and the results also from Luca all together. So this doesn't change for us, and we keep going like this.
I mean, the weight that you didn't have in the car was probably worth maybe a tenth of a second a lap or something, so the performance in the car is still there. You can still go pretty rapidly.
I think so, and that's why this race, we hope to show it, and we hope to just redo kind of the same good performance and, again, still enjoy it.
Enjoy, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, Célia Martin yesterday did a very good job, won the race on the road, as we say there, the car underweight, excluded. Célia Martin's Maserati number 18, you can see there on the left as you look, which will be started by Luca Piri, Team Patron. 85 is the all-female crew of Laura van den Hengel and start driver Sarah Bovey. And standing in front of the car is Nina Jade Paul, and she has with her Laura van den Hengel.
Well, our conditions are certainly a bit cooler today. What does a successful race look like for you?
One on the podium, obviously, yeah.
And how do you think the car will fare today with the conditions being a bit cooler as we are earlier in the day?
So, honestly, I don't think it matters. It's we are lacking speed in terms of horsepower, so the heat won't make it any worse than it is.
What's the focus for the opening lap?
Yeah, it's Sarah now for the opening lap, and she's a mega driver, so I expect that she can hold on pretty well, and yeah, let's see what it brings.
Go get that podium. Good luck.
Thank you.
The Iron Dames Porsche, and the Iron Dames back in the Porsche, of course. Maserati was the weapon of choice at Spa because the Porsche was being used in Italian GT. Right, the car is good to go. The grid is starting to be cleared, and J-Mo Hartling versus his stablemate, Moritz Viskirchen, on the front row of the grid. 1 minute board is there. That means engine on. Everyone fires up. Philippe Pret, the best of the soloists, will start third. David Carraya fourth in the KTM of Victor Mirage. They didn't get into the race yesterday, did it? That had a drama with clutch failure from memory in the pits before the race started.
Yeah, correct. They looked like they were going to be ready to bump start the car, weren't they, from pit lane? They decided against that, but that car was very quick in its qualifying session, so should be one to watch, and we know KTM can go well here as well now.
We do indeed, on the basis of yesterday. There you can see, looking further down the grid, number 7, which is going to be started by Mauro Calamia, who had a spin yesterday, and the car had all sorts of penalties for safety car infringements and pit lane speeding. But Calamia normally is a pretty rapid driver, although he and Roberto Pampanini having a tough time in their current season. Right, the Maserati lead car is good to go. It's an all SR Motorsport by Schnitzelalm front row of the grid. Lead car accelerates away. The green flag is now shown, so that releases the pack, ready to get this second race of the weekend underway. One formation lap. Don't think we need to worry about a second one in these cooler conditions of the morning. It's still very warm indeed out there. And the race director, Noia Santamaria, has given the command to send the cars away, ready for 50 minutes in action. So this, the grid, J-Mo Hertling on pole position, Moritz Wiskirchen alongside, Philippe Pret, who is on pole in the Masters class, is third on the grid, and David Kajaya, ex-Ferrari Challenge star, is lining up fourth. Ethan Giordini fifth. He's got a three-place grid drop as well for a red flag infringement in qualifying, and alongside him Lorenzo Marcucci, who also has a three-place grid drop. Then you've got the pseudonymed Jack Russell with Neil Montserrat alongside. It's Luca Piri next with Sarah Bovey alongside. Petrolisa will go from 11th on the grid. Starting 12th is Nicolo Piri. Then it is Vincent Ayogna in the Lamborghini alongside Patrick Michelier's Ferrari. Next is Mauro Calamia, and lining up alongside him is going to be Mike Simpson's Ginetta. Bas Visser, new to GT2 this weekend, adding it to GT4. Yesterday's winner Reinhard Koffler next, and Oliver Freimuth with a 5-place grid drop at the back. One of those behavioural warning points came yesterday when he caused an incident and had damage, and during the red flag, the scrutineers had a look at the car and said, no, you've got too much damage, it's not really safe to continue. So he was effectively thrown out of yesterday's race, or prevented from continuing in yesterday's race, if you like. But because he caused the accident, he got another behavioural warning point, and so it all conspires against him, and Oliver Freimuth will start at the back of the grid.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty dogged performances from that carbon Lamborghini that you'll see going around the back of shot any second now. There he is, and I think he's got a chance of going forward because he had some pace, but he just misjudged his braking point, didn't he?
Yeah.
Into turn 8, and yeah, got quite a lot of damage as well for his troubles.
So the car's weaving around, generating temperature in the tyres. Co-drivers stand half ready in the pit lane. They won't be needed for at least 20 minutes. And in the background, over at turn 10, that was the incident zone of yesterday. That's David Felenius, who will take over the pole car from J-Mo Hertling. It's a Pro-Am entry, so although it did win outright at Monza, it's the Pro-Am class position and points that really is the main goal here. In theory, they shouldn't be able to put one over on the Silvers, but you never know because of safety cars in a second stint. Things can change. So here they come, and the car on pole position, you can see, going slow, trying to encourage some warmth into the tyres and then through into the brakes. Moritz Wiskirchen alongside. There is Wilhelm Kuhner watching on. It's his car that lines up on the outside of the front row of the 2x2 rolling start formation grid. But I think you're going to find as well, there are some quick people trying to come through early on in this race, like Ethel Giordini, double winner in the silver class in the Ginetta. He's part of the SRO GT Academy. He and Michael Nuhr have gone really well this year. They were outright winners in the first of the two races at Spa. So then, we are ready to go racing at Misano. Lights on the gantry are red. 50 minutes are on the clock. When the lights flick to green, we'll go racing now. Everybody accelerates away, and a good getaway by the pole position driver, then J-Mo Hertling, and he will just be able to hang on to the advantage as they dive down towards turn 1 with Moritz Wiskirchen slotting in behind him in second place. The two sister Mercedes then, 1 and 2. Philippe Pret is third, and it looks like David Kajaya's KTM up into fourth place.
Yeah, a really good start from the lead Mercedes. Teammates, of course, they look choreographed, didn't they? They managed to get the jump and slot into single file formation, as everyone else has got single file formation already by turns 4 and 5. The Ginetta there trying to look down the inside of the KTM into turn 6.
And another Ginetta looking up the inside of the Mercedes. That's Mike Simpson trying to get past Petrolisa, as there the Mercedes very nearly swap places because a big look on the inside by Moritz Wiskirchen. That gives J-Mo Hertling the hurry up, doesn't it? Meaning I'm not prepared to sit here. I know we're in the same team, but I've got my AM to look after, and if I'm quicker, I'm going to come by.
Yeah, exactly that. And at the moment, Philippe Pret, a good gap to him, so those guys will be able to battle as there's a bit of contact there between the front of the NM Racing Mercedes and the back of the Ginetta GT2, and it looks like the Ginetta is going to have to try and defend straight away from that Mercedes.
Look at the gap that's being pulled, though, between the top two and Philippe Pret in third place, and Ethel Giordini then in that very wide Ginetta, trying to keep at bay Neil Montserrat, another driver who is trying to make ground after dramas of yesterday. So the Mercedes looking to gain places. The two KTMs there starting to squabble, and Giordini under attack. Not now from Montserrat, but from a charging Mauro Calamia, who's got the Maserati between those two. And way wide there goes Michael Nuhr, but he's just got ahead of the Jack Russell KTM, and that is tumbling down the order because also now Calamia has gone through. This is a very good first lap by Calamia. in a sense, not what we saw yesterday when he had a spin early on, but he's absolutely taking the battle to them now.
Yeah, Jack Russell has got nothing, has he? He's losing loads of time. Clamia swung round the outside of Montserrat at turns 12 and 13. It was a great move. So he has gained 8 places now, maybe 9 actually, with Jack Russell as the Porsche and the Maserati run side by side.
Here they come up into turn 4. Another look from the KTM lower down the order. That is Reinhard Koffler, yesterday's winner, stuck for the moment behind Sarah Bovey, who is stuck behind Luca Piri. So Maserati, Porsche, KTM absolutely nose to tail. But up front, it's Mercedes, Maserati, hurtling from Viskirchen from Pret. KTM 4th, David Kajaya. 5th, Ginetta, Ethan Gialdini. Maserati 6th, Mara Calamia. And that's Koffler up the inside line. But Sarah Bovey will have the inside for 9. The kink, the right-hander, assuming she can stand her ground, which I think she will do. And Koffler's going to have to go the long way round. That very light KTM gets its nose in front. Koffler tries to get an apex for the corner. Good racing between the two, respectful racing between the two. And somebody on the grass in the background as well as the Mercedes come towards us. They are absolutely nose to tail, but in the battle pack behind for, I think it was 5th and 6th and 7th, we had one car on the grass.
Yeah, they've swapped positions, the Mercedes, so the 1110 now in front of the 111. So yeah, J-Mo Hartling hasn't got the pace, and Viskirchen has decided to dispatch him. There's lots of hard and far racing, isn't there? Because of all the grid drops and everything, we've got some cars out of position, and this is leading to a really frenetic opening 3 and a bit minutes so far.
And even though they've been racing themselves, they pulled away inexorably from that pack behind. But you're right, Viskirchen had served intent, hadn't he, on the first lap when he had that long look at 8. He's gone through then into the lead, and already is the last part of half a second up, as there, Calamia is now crawling all over the back of David Kajaya. That Maserati looks like a completely different car from yesterday. Calamia really going for it.
Yeah, super fired up, isn't he? And he's got momentum, which is good. Actually, the momentum to the Ginetta Giardini behind, they both look to the inside. And the problem is, as a driver, once you've made 10 places up, you've got this real positive feeling that you can just keep going, you're untouchable. And he nearly gets touched by Giardini, but doesn't. But every time you go forward, the overtake gets harder because the car in front is faster than the one before. So just start to worry that Calamia now needs to probably steady his nerves and just start to realise that the next target of Danny Kajaya is going to be a lot tougher than the cars he's overtaken so far.
Don't forget, Calamia is up from the 8th row of the grid, so he started 15, so he's made demon progress early on in this race. But it's Viskirchen from Hartling then. A little bit further back there, you can see Luca Piri onto the tail now of Lorenzo Marcucci, who yesterday led the race for a couple of corners and then spun. And although they won their class, it's a car that had another behavioural warning point, a red flag grid drop 3 places, so they started out of position, and right now Marcucci trying to haul that back into the mix. But Calamia is the one to watch at the moment. Number 7 Maserati then in this new colour scheme that it's got. Forget the gold, it's now this stealth battleship grey, and Calamia all over the back of Kajaya. Looks to the inside at 16, which is brave, and he commits to it just about. Squeezes the KTM out wide, gains the place. Here comes Gialdini. Calamia still on a mission.
Yeah, Kajaya was very fair on him there. If there was contact, that would have been on the Maserati. It would have been his fault, and another positioned loss. So Kajaya would not be happy. That second position was all because he lost momentum out of the last corner. But it does release Calamia to try and get Philippe Pret. And I think that's going to be a job done in the next couple of laps. And then that car will be up to a podium position.
Now, drivers often explain that you have to give a car's width to the car on the outside. Well, not sure there was necessarily the width, because way out over the curb was Kajaya, and as you say, he then lost that momentum to Gialdini, who went through. We'll get another look at that move, I'm sure, of Calamia's. And Kajaya is still under attack, isn't he? Because Neil Montserrat, the NM behind the NM Racing team, is crawling all over him there in that Mercedes. Behind Montserrat is Jack Russell. And behind Russell, you've got Luca Piri chasing Lorenzo Marcucci. They are 9th and 10th with, at the moment, Marcucci in the Audi just ahead of Piri. And in fact, that's going to change because Koffler's in the mix as well. So now Marcucci is ahead of the KTM of Jack Russell, and you've got Reinhard Koffler's KTM in the mix. They're going to be side by side here. Round the outside, Montserrat passes Kajaya, and Koffler's KTM is also gaining places behind.
Yeah, Koffler's the only KTM going forwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kajaya and Russell going back at an alarming rate of knots, and you can see the 3 KTMs now only separated by an Audi, but it's the middle KTM with its door slightly ajar. I think I just saw the left-hand door on the second KTM in shot just seemed to have popped open slightly. You can see it flapping in the wind.
Yeah, there is the pseudonymed Jack Russell. Is it the door that's open or is it the window that's peeling out? The car about to go down towards turn number 1, and it does so. That's Marcucci versus Kajaya, and another place is lost by Kajaya. So he's down to 8th place now. Whether that car's got a problem, we'll try and get to the bottom of. But you're right, Koffler is the only KTM driver going forward. But we know how good Reinhard Koffler is. He was a real gun in single-seaters a decade plus ago. Champion in this 2 seasons back, and coming now out of turn number 5, the second part of the Curva del Rio. So the KTMs, the one in the middle is that of Reinhard Koffler. Further back here, you can see number 8, which is Nicola Piri on the attack. That car a long way down the order today, though.
Yeah, it didn't seem to have the pace it had yesterday. And yeah, I've said it's the door of Koffler, but of course it's a canopy, so it doesn't have a door, so it is a window, but for sure it's not how it left the factory. I just wonder, are race control going to look at it, and hopefully they don't give him the meatball flag for that one.
Jack Russell's probably grateful for a bit of cool air in the car, however he gets it. So yes, they don't have conventional doors that open like on the Mercedes, swing out. It's the sort of roof canopy that goes up and forward, and that's how you get in and out of the KTM. Having said that, Maurice Viskerken was quicker, J-Mo Hartlinger stayed with him. So although they've swapped positions there, Hartling in 2nd place, only 0.6 of a second back.
Yeah, last time by, fastest lap of the race as well. And the KTMs have now swatched positions, haven't they?
Yeah.
Koffler, the only one with any pace for KTM, it seems, is now at the lead of that 3-car KTM battle.
And Calamia now 4th, is about to go 3rd, look, because he's caught up to Philippe Pret. So Mauro Calamia in the Dynamic Motorsport entry, the same team that runs Porsches here this weekend in the GT World Challenge Europe race. This is the fight on for 3rd place. And of course, Philippe Pret in the Masters class, and Mauro Calamia coming from Pro-Am. And he is the pro in that Pro-Am entry. Very experienced driver is Calamia, and he's crawling all over the back of Pret.
Yeah, but we've seen such aggressive defence from Pret over the years, haven't we? He doesn't make this easy because he knows he's got to then fight later on in this race when he does his 2nd stint against the teammate of Calamia of Pampanini, and that is a fairer battle for Pret. So Pret wants to try and hold him up for as long as he can to make the end of his life easier.
But this is Calamia with a good run out of turn 8. He's going to be on the outside line for the kink at turn 9, and he's already got the job done. So Mauro Calamia then charging through the pack. That puts him up to 3rd place, having started 15th on the grid. But you can see the real estate between the 2 Mercedes and then Calamia in 3rd place. So that puts him up into 3rd overall, as that's a spin from Nicola Piri at turn 8. It's 3rd overall for Calamia, but it's still only 3rd in class because he's got 2 more Pro-Am entries ahead of him, and of them J-Mo Hartling has done the fastest lap of the race. That's Luca Piri battling with Jack Russell.
My worry for Piri there is a very similar spin to we saw his teammate Yuli have a couple of times yesterday, where the rear brake seemed to activate more than the front. Jack Russell running wide there as well. And he's really had a tough opening stint in that green and black KTM.
He has indeed, and it's getting no easier for him either, because Luca Piri is right there behind, and behind Luca Piri is Mike Simpson, who is another in the Pro-Am class. Luca Piri running in the Masters categories. They come up over the line and breaks the beam now. So Piri is on the attack, lines up to have a go. Does he on the inside? No, stands his ground going into turn 1 through this Curva del Parco sequence, turn 1, 2 and 3. And Mike Simpson's Ginetta, that was a winner at Spa, getting a little bit nearer, and Simpson with a good exit of 3.
Yeah, and that's what the Ginetta needs, is the exit out the corner to help it down the back straight, where it then starts to struggle and go all the way around the outside. That's a good move from Mike Simpson. Fair from Piri to give him the space. And now the Maserati will charge back at him, and Mike Simpson knows that and tries to close the door, but doesn't close it early enough, and Piri comes back.
But also what that illustrates is what Lawrence Tomlinson said yesterday about the Ginetta being better through the corners, and its BOP for Misano not helping it on the power parts, on the straight lines. And so Luca Piri able to breeze back ahead of the Ginetta, but Mike Simpson will attack when he can through the next sequence of corners. Trouble is, and there's a Mercedes in problems. It's one of the 2 lead cars, and it is Viskerken who was in the lead of the race. Moritz Viskerken limping out of turn 10, and that is going to expire on the grass by the look of it. He tries to peel off the racetrack, then thinks better of it, and he's trying to power it back up again, and it has sort of powered back up again. It's not at full speed, but it's certainly picked up pace. And we had this yesterday, 1 or 2 Mercedes in trouble, and grinding to a halt, and it looks as though it's sort of at 90% pace again.
Yeah, it's had to turn itself off and on again, hasn't it? Is it just overheated and something has just switched off? These cars, obviously so clever. If any of the parameters go over what they've been pre-designed, then the car will just turn itself off to save itself. So oil temp is the most likely one. But interestingly, he had clean air, wasn't he? He was our lead car, so should have been able to keep it cool. Ambient's only 28 degrees, so potentially that isn't the cause, but we saw a lot of it yesterday, like you said.
So let's find out what the drama is on that pit stop when Maurice Viskirchen will get out of the car. Meanwhile, battle is on here for third overall. This is Philippe Pret versus Ifan Giardini. So you've got a Masters class car ahead of the car that runs within the silver category. There is Philippe Pret fending off the Ginetta. Ifan Giardini will give that car over to Michael Nuhr, whereas Pret, Ferrari Challenge champion, as well as a double champion in GT2, will stay to the end.
Giardini didn't get to drive yesterday, did they? Had to retire that car during the red flag period due to suspension damage, wasn't it? We assumed it was picked up from a curb strike, but that number 3 Ginetta had been running well, but didn't finish the race yesterday. So this is good pace from Giardini, considering he didn't race it yesterday.
Your concern about Nicola Piri after his spin may have been well-founded, because he's made a pit stop. He's just rejoining, but he's come in maybe for them to have a look at the ABS on that car. Or it may have been something more sinister that pitched him into the spin. But anyway, Piri has pitted and he's back in the race. There is the car. He is the son of Luca Piri, the LP of LP Racing. And Nicola Piri now will drop off the lead lap. So it's going to be a tough race now to recover any positions in, but as long as they keep going and score points in class, that's the main aim. And you never know, others may have dramas.
Yeah, he's just going to stay on the lead lap for maybe 2 or 3 laps, depending on his pace. You can see the leader there, as again, that car seems to expire in exactly the same place. Is it going to get lucky and restart? If it does, is New Santa Maria going to want that car in? Because if the car keeps stopping, it's obviously not safe, and this is a longer restart process, it seems, this time for the 110 Mercedes.
I wonder why it's happening there, if anywhere, or is it that it's had a problem elsewhere and Viskirchen has just been able to nurse it round to that corner because it's safer on that straight than anywhere else? Or it's you know, if a car's got a problem, it's got a problem. You can't really control where it's going to expire, can you?
Yeah, up to that point, the circuit is so twisty through sectors 1 into turn 8 into 10 straight away. I just wonder if it's the chance the car hasn't had to cool at its worst point, but it's going again because it's disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. So you just saw in the background of the pit garage, Willy Kuhne. Right, that is Piri dropping off the lead lap. So he's gone a lap down, as predicted. And in fact, he's 2 laps down when he left the pit lane. So it's been a very lengthy pit stop. And Maurice Viskirchen brings the car into the pit lane. He's aware that he just can't continue to go and stop like this. It's got to have a fix. So whether it's a loose connection of something, well, we'll try to find out. We can see our pit team in the SR Motorsport garage. Meanwhile, Sarah Bove here is in 12th place overall, chasing after Mike Simpson. Sarah, one of the most experienced of the Iron Dames these days, done a huge amount of racing. Philippe Pret still under attack here from Ifan Giardini as they come over the timing line. And behind is Neil Montserrat, and behind Montserrat is Koffler. So this is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, all in a big battle.
Yeah, we're still 5 minutes away from the pit window to this battle. There's got another 3 laps to go before they can decide to pit. And actually, the Ginetta's got a move here, I think, under braking as they dive into turn 4. Is he going to get down the inside? He does. Fair from Pret, but he's got to be careful of Montserrat, who's going to try and sneak down the inside at the same time.
Pret, again, though, needs to pick his battles, doesn't he? Because none of these cars are in the same class as him, but he doesn't want to let too many go, mindful that he's got to serve 14 seconds extra in the pits compared to those that don't have compensation time. So he's going to be in jeopardy of losing that class leader when he returns to the race, as Koffler dives to the inside of Montserrat, who dives to the inside of Pret. Neil Montserrat then trying to get the drive off turn 8, but again, it'll be the outside line, can't do it, switches to the inside up for turn 9, and there he can make the move, and Koffler tries to follow him through as well. So Neil Montserrat now into 4th place. Reinhard Koffler's about to go 5th, and Philippe Pret now is dropping down the order.
Are we sure that's the same Philippe Pret I just said 2 laps ago? Always puts up a big defence. Everything I've ever seen from him, he is so elbows out, and he's just letting cars through. Yes, you're right, David, they're in different classes, but normally he defends harder than this, so hopefully for him he's not having to nurse a problem in that 1 car.
Yeah, because having lost all of those places, and there's another window peeling open on the KTM. It's now the Reinhard Koffler car. I'm assuming that is because of an incident or a drama rather than a deliberate way of getting some air into the car. But yeah, Philippe Pret as we say, he's let them go, but he's lost a lot of time. He's not staying on the back of that queue either, and that's odd, given that, as I say, he's got this much longer pit stop to serve.
Yeah, the next car behind is for position. It's the KTM of Kajaya, which had a troubling start to this race, isn't it? Lost a load of time, but now seems to have found his feet, putting in some pretty good time. So Pret would be looking in his mirrors more aggressively now, I'm sure.
That last lap of Philippe Pret was a 1:40. Kajaya behind is doing 1:36s. He's just done a personal best lap. So the gap between them, which is 2.1 seconds, should come right down, may even change on this next lap if that is now Pret's new pace. And if it is his new pace, then he's got a problem. I know he would have lost time by being overtaken, but he's not staying with them as Koffler has another big dive, this time at the inside of Montserrat. Another place gained, and that puts Koffler up now into 4th place, having started 18th on the grid.
Yeah, mega move. He's been super decisive, isn't he? Aggressive, but decisive, and that's what drivers can deal with. It's when there's half looks and it's hard to read. Big snap of oversteer for both of them. That's potentially going to give a chance to the Audi of Marcucci to get a run.
Yeah, he's creeping back into the mix, isn't he, as Montserrat now tries to exploit the power of the Mercedes-AMG GT2. But across the front comes Reinhard Koffler. And even if that KTM is not the fastest car, you've got so much experience in it from Reinhard Koffler that he's all being put to good use. Moritz Wiskirchen, by the way, back into the race after that pit stop in number 110. That drops in behind Nicola Piri. So you've got 2 delayed cars now that are going to try and get themselves together for a fight. So that is Lorenzo Marcucci running in 6th place. Coming up to the line, and we're not yet, of course, at the pit window. 2 minutes to go.
Marcucci needs to be careful of his track limits. He's already used 5. They're reset in the pits, but one more, and he will get a 5-second penalty. And that looked really close on the exit of 16 as we watched him exit the final corner.
So the race leader, J-Mo Hartling, in what you might call the healthy Mercedes. Weird, isn't it, how the problems have hit one of the SR Motorsport cars, but not the other. And Hartling is now 11 seconds to the good over Mauro Calamia. The last lap, very, very evenly matched. Calamia just 0.05 of a second slower, and therefore he's not catching the lead Mercedes, but Calamia is, of course, up to second with the effective demise of Moritz Wiskirchen after the car stopped a couple of times out on the circuit. There's Neil Montserrat going through. Montserrat still chasing after the KTM, but having to be mindful now that he's being caught by Lorenzo Marcucci. And Mike Simpson, with clear track ahead of him, has just done an absolute best in Sector 1 in the 9th placed Ginetta.
Yeah, hard for Mike Simpson, isn't it? Because he's got so much pace pent up underneath him. He wants to send it as big as he can, but it's difficult when you haven't got a car with that much straight line performance. Now, finally, Mike Simpson has been released. 4th in class at the moment for the Ginetta, so potential podium on the cards when he hands over to the ever-fast Lawrence Tomlinson.
News from the pits is that the SR Motorsport team don't know what the problem is, couldn't find the issue with Wiskirchen's car when it pitted, so they've sent him out, but they're not convinced that it's going to be reliable.
Strange, normally there's a big alarm on the dash indicating where to look for the teams. Maybe they've downloaded the data, they're going to review it more as the car is on track, but potentially worrying that the 110 car is still going to stop.
So there is the Koffler KTM, window open, and Reinhard Koffler, excellent stint this, up into 4th place, and the Austrian driver coming now up towards the turn 4-5 double apex right, and he will go long. Of course, we haven't really touched on driver stint times. There's only the requirement to do as much as you can before the window expires rather than a regulation time, but what you will find in a Pro-Am entry is that the Pro will do the majority of the race, so as close to the end of the window as possible for Reinhard Koffler. That would make perfect sense. Save for Neil Montserrat.
Exactly that, so 10-minute window, so they can squeeze 6 extra laps in rather than boxing right at the start. Mercedes on Mercedes battle here. It's Visser against Petrolisa. This is for 13th place as they dive down the small hill into turn 8. Oh.
Big dive, wasn't it, that by Bas Visser, new to GT2. He's racing GT4 as well, so he's having to make that adaptation, and he's all over the back of Petrolisa. So these 2 Mercedes-AMGs running together. That car, 294, Petrolicia's car, yesterday got a penalty for being short on its pit stop, so that compromised its race position. As over the line goes J-Mo Hartling, doing what he can here to build the gap for David Thelenius over, effectively, Roberto Pampanini, who will take over the 2nd placed Maserati. And it's 1 and 2, those cars, not only overall, but also, remember, in Pro-Am. Now, J-Mo Hartling will have to serve no extra time in the pits, and Pampanini, no extra time in the pits. So really will be whatever the gap is at the pit stop that will be carried into stint 2, and then we'll see whether David Fellenius is quicker than Roberto Pampanini to preserve the gap that he's had built up for him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that battle. It's been even between those two AM drivers so far this season in terms of pace, so it's going to be a good battle. And we see our first pit stopper there. The Audi has come in. It's going to be Racina getting in the car. They're going to put any fuel in it. Doesn't look like it potentially. Oh no, they are. They're closing the door, so now the door is closed again. Soon it will start the fueling. Or was that a miscommunication? Did they think they were going to fuel, so they closed the door and then realised they weren't? Because it looks like the driver change is just going to happen now.
Yeah, in gets Stefan Rosina. The Slovak driver, the car parts magnate. Other drivers getting themselves ready. Victor Mirage will take over from David Kajaya. Andre Rokos from Petrolisa, and they're the LP Racing squad. Seems to run most of the paddock in this championship, not quite as much as that, but they've got a lot of cars. Matador you see on the door, that's the company of Stefan Rosina, who made his name in Porsche Super Cup going back a couple of decades, but he's had a welcome return to racing. Reigning champion, of course, when he drove in the Lamborghini last year with Bronek Formanek. Meanwhile, J-Mo Hartling still clear in the lead of the race. And
Gilardini Ginetta is going to box. So cars starting to come in ever so slightly earlier, so we know how quick Mikael Nuhr is, so good to have two fast drivers in that Ginetta. Less important when to box when your drivers are so evenly matched.
And with them not finishing yesterday and Antoine Potti not finishing and not even racing today, it's going to be a very jumbled championship situation, I think, going into the final rounds. First of all at Zandvoort, and then a month later at Portimao. That is Philippe Pret coming in. You've got Oliver Freimuth in, Bas Visser is in, Luca Piri is in. We're going to have Nicola Piri back in, of course, refueling for the Ginetta, the CMR car, classic modern racing. So out gets Ethan Gialdini. Not yet to get in is Mikael Nuhr, because the car has to be empty while it's fueled. So this enables Hartling to carry on track, and he and Calamia will go long into the window to try to give their AM the best possible chance.
Yeah, and because there's a minimum pit stop time, refueling doesn't cost you time. It just means that you're doing something while just being sat there. And we will keep an eye on those minimum times to make sure everyone adheres to it's 155 seconds or 2 minutes 35. And of course, there's some success penalties to be applied as well that we need to keep an eye on.
So few takers, though, for a pit stop that Noé Santamaria, the race director, has put on the screen. Remind, pit window is open. So in case you hadn't spotted it, teams, you can pit. I think they have got the message. Seeing others now pouring down the pit lane, because you've now got the Vincent Ayogna Lamborghini into the pit lane, amongst others. So more and more cycling through the pit stops. If you're a silver class entry, it's really partly your track position relative to traffic, and partly which of the two silvers you consider to be the faster, because in theory they should be quite evenly matched.
Yeah, exactly, but track position is so important. You get stuck behind an AM car, you can easily lose a second or two trying to navigate around them, and then that time is lost forever. It seems like we've got a slalom race going on the roof at Misano. It isn't just the on-track stuff. We've said it before, the concert last night was pumping, wasn't it? And
did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I was walking out, and I was going to get in my car and be well behaved, and then someone bumped into me that I knew, and we ended up having some hydration near the stage.
Philippe Pret, good to go in number one. The Ginetta of Mikael Nuhr has just left the pit lane ahead of Pret's Maserati. Is the car of Celia Martin that hesitates a bit to get going, and he's still there, but now Celia Martin blasts away, lights up the rear tyres, so a little bit frustrated with the initial delay. And Philippe Pret behind. Don't forget, Pret falls behind in that traffic because of the extra 14 seconds that he has to serve.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good for Martin to get some clear space and not have to get past Pret. But she will have to get straight up to speed. Of course, Philippe Pret has already done 25 minutes and 30 seconds of this race, so he will have that advantage, hence why they have the longer pit stop.
Indeed so. And there is Philippe Pret going down the pit lane in the red Maserati with the Mercedes on track, just having to slot in behind on the run up towards turn 3. And as they get there, that is the NM Motorsport car, as you can see, crawling all over the back, desperate not to be delayed. Nil Montserrat, as he comes now in his pursuit of Reinhard Koffler down towards turn 8, and he will clear Pret this time. Interesting, isn't it, that Maurice Visker can back out. We haven't seen the car struggling since that pit stop.
No, maybe it just needed a long off and on. There is 2 off and ons, believe it or not. I feel like I'm an IT expert here. An off and on will sometimes help, but sometimes you have to let the car fully sleep, power off, and everything has to turn off. And sometimes it can take over a minute for all the systems, the ECU, the GCU, even the GPX system. Everything has to power off, and that can sometimes take so long. The drivers don't always have the patience for that on track.
To the pit lane, Jack Russell then to give way to Max Grip. Also into the pit lane now is number 110 again, but this time it is for Moritz Viskerken to give way to Willy Kuhner. Oliver Freimuth, meanwhile, in 24 goes a lap down against David Kajaya, who is yet to box in the KTM, the red and black car there, that is in 5th place, but being reeled in by Mike Simpson's Ginetta, I notice.
Yeah, Mike going super long in the stint. Only 3 minutes left of it. Just a reminder, track limits in GT2 are reset at the driver change, so each driver gets a fresh allocation. So I think that's why we're seeing so many drivers get all the way up to their limit, because they know they might as well use it up before they hand the car over.
They're going through as the race leader then. That is J-Mo Hartling, going out of turn 2 now. And you can see other cars blending back in from that long pit lane exit that takes you all the way around the back of 2, and you blend back in at 3 rather than joining before turn 1 right on the racing line. So it's a longer pit exit, but a safer one, as there the cars back on track with the race now, having just 22 minutes to go. Into the pit lane now comes Nicola Piri, but that's a second stop, this time to give way to Thomas Yu-Lee. But after his earlier delay, that car really out of contention for a class win, sadly.
Yeah, you can see Thomas Yu-Lee getting ready to get in. They're running a cool vest. You can see the long pipe hanging out of his suit, so they plug that in to the car, and that pumps icy cold water around the vest around them, and it is a godsend. It's a strange thing to try and describe, but you're like sitting in an ice bath, also in the sauna at the same time. It just keeps the core temperature ever so lower, and it does certainly help with driver fatigue.
And Thomas Yu-Lee was very animated about his ABS dramas yesterday. There's the leader then, J-Mo Hartling, who's had a good stint. He may not have had the initial pace of Moritz Viskerken, but he has certainly built the gap, and he's continued to pull away, hasn't he, from Kalamia over these last few laps. But now maybe it is the time to go for the pit lane, because he's A, going to run out of time within the window, but B, there's traffic up the road. So now J-Mo Hartling does indeed dive for the pit lane, and a stint well driven. That 15.4 seconds, the gap last time over the line. So now we'll see what sort of advantage David Thelenius will have when he goes back into the race, and when Roberto Pampanini chases him back on track, and indeed how it is in stint 2. 15.4 seconds then, that gap before the stops.
Yeah, it was a shame we lost the other SR Motorsport car, wasn't it? Because it was going to be a good battle. Yes, he dropped to second, J-Mo Hartling, but he had done the fastest lap of the race. So that battle, I think, was going to start to spice up quite nicely as we look at the Ginetta, the number 3 car here now with Mikkel Muir in. He was super quick in that opening stint of the race yesterday, but like we said, suspension damage stopped that car from finishing.
So the fuel goes in, then the American driver David Thelenius will get on board. That's Mikkel Muir at the wheel of number 3 Ginetta. Another great sounding car, that.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, doesn't it? The thundering V8, you feel it in the chest, and we can see the 89 KTM getting to work, the quirky clamshell being opened up. Quite a claustrophobic feeling, that. I've not driven that KTM, but the McLaren Solus has got a cinema canopy, and I remember getting closed in for it the first time, and it's kind of like a very fast, expensive coffin, really, with wheels. And, yeah, a strange but odd feeling to have a canopy, not doors.
There over the line is Mikkel Muir. He goes by. But Joe's experience of coffins is a conversation for another time. So David Thelenius awaits the signal to blast away. The team controlling that pit stop. J-Mo Hartling helping him with the belts. The track limits have now been reset. To pick up on the point Joe was making, the window is almost at an end, and everybody now has either done their stop or is doing the stop. So this is the car to watch, isn't it? Because it's now in the lead of the silver class, and Mikkel Muir, relative to this car, may even have a chance of an outright victory, depending on the lap times that David Thelenius puts in.
Yeah, and just working really hard already, though, is my fear for this Ginetta. Had a big snap of oversteer, cutting the curb really nicely there, down at turn 8. Car controller, the procedure there is the lollipop is up. That isn't to say go, that's to say the pit lane is clear, and all of these cars now running a GPS timing system that tells the driver when to leave the pit so they don't go under their minimum time. So the car controller is saying there is no traffic, you're clear to go, and it's down to the driver to time the release all the way down to the line.
So put the emphasis on the driver. Now, the car has that long pit exit to serve. It is going to be ahead of the very, very snappy sideways Ginetta. There then is David Fellenius coming back out on circuit, but it's going to take him a lap or so to get dialed in. David, the American driver, new to Misano. He's not done that much racing prior to this season, certainly not in Europe, but he's away and moving now. And Roberto Pampanini is on track as well. And so here is Mikel Nior about to thunder his way over the line. Alberto Di Martin has taken over from Nil Montserrat. You've got Marius Eigner in for Reinhard Koffler. So now Mikel Nior has got lots of AMs in Pro-Am cars to work a way through in 18 minutes. This is going to be a really interesting stint.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to be about 16 to 17 seconds behind this Mercedes. But you're right, Fellenius needs to get up to speed fast and efficiently. And that's the hardest thing to do when you've not driven all day and you're just jumping in halfway through a race.
Yeah, that's right, because there's no warm-up session. You don't even get a lap to the grid. You are absolutely cold in. So here, down into turn 8 goes Roberto Pampanini, who takes over number 7 Maserati, and he was, or that car was, 15.4 seconds back. But the other one to watch in this is going to be Stefan Rosina, isn't it? Because Stefan Rosina is the higher graded driver in this leading group. So the venerable Audi going after the Maserati right now, and Rosina, whose last lap was a 1:36, doing the kind of pace really that the leaders were doing in the first stint, and he in turn is being chased by Mikel Nior. Yeah,
Mikel Nior is definitely the car on the move here, isn't he? He's got these two cars in his sights, but he will be working out, can he catch that lead Mercedes with 17 minutes to go? I think he's got to be a second a minute faster, roughly 1.8 seconds a lap quicker.
And apologies, that was Thomas Lee, not Stefan Rosina. Rosina, in fact, is behind Mikel Nior. So Thomas Lee out of sequence because that car is 2 laps down on the traffic. He's trying to get back into the hunt, but Mikel Nior is catching Pampanini as they go through. So David Fellenius leads the way. In second place is Pampanini, 16.8 seconds now, the gap between the top two. But in third place is Mikel Nior, and he's lapping in the 1:36s, so he's on the right kind of pace. And Nior is 1.8 seconds back from Pampanini. I think he's going to get past that Maserati on this lap, but then it's going to be a long slog to get onto terms with Fellenius.
Yeah, he needs to get past it efficiently. Remember, the Ginetta not the fastest at the end of the straight, so needs to get the move done while he's got momentum. The Ginetta will be lurking behind the drone as we now shoot up over the bridge to not collect it. And there is the Ginetta. Can he get it done straight away? The first time they hit the brakes into 8, he's going to send it down the inside. Looks like Pampanini's given him the space. Pampanini could send it around the outside. I think he's delayed the throttle, and the Ginetta has done the move. That's what he needs if he's going to go over the overall race win. He's got to keep getting this gap down, which is now 16.4 seconds.
So 18 at a big spin. That's Thomas Lee. Having rotated, he spun there yesterday and he's gone around again. So Thomas Lee in strife. The day gets no better for that car. So Mikel Nior was 18.7 seconds off David Fellenius at the start of this lap. He's gained a place, although in fairness, Pampanini is coming back in it. The Pampanini charge against Fellenius is still worth monitoring, of course, because that's for the Pro-Am class lead. Mikel Nior is in silver, and he's leading that class come what may. But if he can take an outright win, even better. And look at the way that he's charging. He's getting away straight off from that Maserati of Pampanini.
Yeah, I get Pampanini not defending from the Ginetta, but like Philip Pret in another Maserati, I just wonder if they're having to nurse a problem with the temperatures here, and they're just rolling out of the throttle, trying to get some lift and coast, trying to generate a bit more cool air for these cars because the fight hasn't been there. But you're right, if he can get going, then he could follow that Ginetta all the way to the lead for the overall race, but also his class.
You see on that graphic that Vincent Aigner's Lamborghini is still in the pit lane. It's a gearbox problem, we understand, with that car, and it's retired from the race. So gearbox woes for 27. So Mikel Nior then was 18.7 seconds back. Now 15.2 seconds back. So he's absolutely thundering along in pursuit of David Fellenius, as there you've got Victor Marash's KTM in and amongst the traffic, and he is looking for a way to get through further places before the end. That's the recovering Thomas Lee, and also in that battle is the NM Mercedes in the hands of Alberto Di Martin. Marius Eigner still charging along. So it's David Fellenius in the lead. Mikel Nior is second. Roberto Pampanini is in third. And then Marius Eigner in fourth place. Now that is a change for fourth place as Stefan Rosina goes round the outside. So Rosina trying to come back after the slower pit stop, they had an extra 10 seconds to serve on the result of yesterday. So that's why Rosina is slightly out of sequence. And although we talk about the Audi being one of the older cars, in the right hands, it still flies.
Yeah, good moves from Rosina. And actually, KTM's are going to swap back round. I think Miraz is going to be thinking, I'm yours, coming to Aigner. And he's going to want to try and get that move done to get back to being the fastest KTM out here. And that would be top 5. We had a good weekend for KTM here at GT2.
Yeah, and for Mirage, it'll be the only result, won't it, having not started yesterday's race. So he wants to try and maximise this if possible. There's Alberto De Martin going through. You've also got Lawrence Tomlinson and then Adrien Ferrer. And Ferrer should be one to watch. That car was a long way back out of position on the grid. Didn't really progress in the first stint either, as Max Visser still adapts to a GT2 car. But Ferrer should fly now. That's Alberto De Martin. Right, the lead gap was 15.2. It's down to 11.7. With 13 minutes to go. It's on this, isn't it?
Really on. I think he's going to cruise past. He's going to have the chance to pick his moment. Of course, Fernandez with that Mercedes with very good straight line performance will be getting briefed, I think, from Yemo Hurtling over the radio of what he wants him to do. Are they focused on overall win or is it the class win? We'll soon find out, I think, in the next 4 laps.
As there is the charging Victor Mirage then. And in that KTM battle, he's closing on Aigner. Meanwhile, you've got Stefan Rosina looking for a way now up past Alberto De Martin.
Oh.
And drama there between the two of them, and off they both go. Mercedes heads for the barrier. A lot of damage. Really weird accident coming out of turn 8. Rosina glancing off the side of the Mercedes, both ending up on the grass. And Alberto De Martin punted into that Armca. That was quite a big hit.
Well, it was a huge hit for the Mercedes, wasn't it? They both just clashed wheels, and then suddenly the wheel must have got taken out of the hands of the driver, and it just shot them across the track at a huge rate of knots. And yeah, no tyres in front of the barrier there, because you don't normally have a car going there, of course. That was the interesting bit. And I think it was the Yuli Maserati, wasn't it? Not the Rosina Audi involved. Such similar liveries on those cars. But yeah, huge damage on the Mercedes.
Right, so that is potentially, as you see Alberto De Martin clambering over the wall, going to give us a safety car period to move that. We'll wait and see what is decided. And Alberto De Martin then out of the car, out of the race. So Thelenius leads Nuhr. That gap was, what, 11.7. It's now down to 8.7 seconds. David Thelenius on borrowed time here. So Thelenius from Nuhr, then Pampanini. It was number 8, you're right, Thomas Yuli, apologies. And Rosina, therefore, still safe in 4th place, but a lot of damage done to Alberto De Martin's Mercedes, and a very, very unusual place to see a car end up. So for now, it's covered under a yellow flag.
Yeah, the car is off in a pretty safe place, but of course if a car can get there, another one could follow. So big decision for race control here. This car will not want any intervention. So they go down the hill into 8. This is all normal. Yu Li gets the run out, and they both just kind of come for the same part of the track. And it's an odd one because Yu Li knows that the Mercedes is there and just decides to let it run out wide. I think it's more on the white Maserati than on the Mercedes potentially, but then the front angle makes it look like the Mercedes is coming across the front of the Maserati. But huge speed, huge impact there for the front of the Mercedes on the barrier. Trying doing well to get it, and yeah, rips the whole front right wheel off and throws that over the barrier.
And that was Thomas Yu Li trying to unlap himself, of course, but it's effectively the end of the race for that car. It's limped back into the pit lane, so maybe the hope is that it's far enough, that Mercedes, off on that grass verge. It can be left there under a yellow flag with 10 more minutes of the race to go. David Thelenius now 5.6 seconds ahead of Michael Nuhr, but it's 14 seconds, the gap over Pampanini. Roberto Pampanini is also catching Thelenius, but not quickly enough, I would venture.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. So it's all about what this Ginetta can do. It's been a great stint. We saw him pushing very hard early on, didn't we, with huge snaps of oversteer. So hopefully he's looked after the rear tyre. Hard on tyres here, Misano. We've seen a few punctures over the weekend, so the team may be just reminding of that as we see a tyre change going on the sister lead car, the 1110.
So that continues to have its travails. That now is a 3rd pit stop for that car. It had one unscheduled, one routine, now another unscheduled stop. Maybe having gone over some debris. There, still thundering on, is Michael Nuhr. 5.6 seconds back at the start of the lap. He was a second quicker in the first sector. In the middle sector, quicker again by a second. So it is going to be round about the 2-second mark, I think, between the top two. Traffic is up the road as well. Wiper on. Michael Muir has just knocked the stalk, I think, in his efforts to hustle the Ginetta up to the end of the lap. But look, through the traffic they come, and the margin first to second, 5.6 last time, is now 1.1 seconds, 11 tenths over the line. So Michael Muir potentially will be the leader at the end of this lap.
Yeah, and traffic has really affected the gap, hasn't it, as Framuth lets them both through. I think Muir's going to send us to the inside straight away at turn 4.
Here he comes, up the inside line for the race lead. He's got the line, late on the brakes, easy peasy. Through goes Michael Muir, but that, remember, is a silver going ahead of a Pro-Am entry. So David Thelenius loses the outright lead, but he's still got his class lead. And there, he's 11... No, he's not. He is 15 seconds up the road from Roberto Pampanini.
Yeah, and it's been perfect for the Ginetta, hasn't it? What could they have done if they had not retired yesterday? Framuth going in super deep, I think, there. It's turn 8. Yeah, he's got it covered up, and he's OK. Yeah,
Framuth was having a battle with Patrick Michelier's Ferrari, and Michelier has now gone through, and Framuth, I think, was trying to retake that, but ended up going even wider. That is, get it right this time, Stefan Rossina, and the Audi is chasing Thelenius for second place in the race. Rossina is also chasing Muir for the silver lead and is lapping quicker, but he's got the best part of 10 seconds to make up, and that in 7.5 minutes I'm not sure will happen. That incident between Yu Li and Alberto De Martin is going to be looked at post-race, as the Audi of Stefan Rossina, as we say, goes well. One of the older cars, one of the original GT2 chassis, but good to have it back out of the LP Racing stable.
Yeah, I think smart from race control to investigate after the race, because again, the camera angles really make it look so different, don't they? The rear shot made it look like Yu Li was more at fault. The front shot, maybe De Martin more at fault. So they would look at the onboard video, speak to the drivers, take what their feelings were at the time as well. But of course, like you said, David, Yu Li was unlapping himself, so maybe race control will not look favourably upon that factor as well.
So Michael Muir into the lead of the race, pulling away. Thelenius second, Rossina third, Pampanini fourth. So it's silver Pro-Am, and then Victor Mirage leading Masters at the moment. So having missed yesterday's race, that could be on for a class win today, and therefore maximum compensation time at Zandvoort in September. That is Rossina getting himself up past Oliver Freimuth. We've got 6 minutes and change, as you can see on the clock, in what's been another lively race in GT2 European Series. And Michael Muir, I think, is going to be OK to hang on to this race lead. But Thelenius versus Pampanini, still interesting for Pro-Am honours.
My only fear of Michael Muir is 5 track limit warnings. So next one, and there's 6 opportunities per lap, would be a 5-second penalty.
He's on his final warning. That's been communicated, and hopefully the CMR team, Charlie Boucharat's team, will be on the blower to say, calm it down. You can't afford any more transgressions. Yes, when you're hustling on, maybe you can expect it, but once you've got the race lead, back it out.
Yeah, the team will literally be saying, no more.
Thanks. Might get lost in translation with that in that. Up towards the end of the lap then comes the Ginetta. That's Stefan Rossina's Audi in third place. And over the timing line now goes Michael Muir, with 5 minutes and 20 seconds still to run. David Thelenius in second spot, falling back, look, into the clutches of Rossina. So the lead gap is up to 6, and the second place gap is down to 2 seconds. That's going to change by the end of the lap, isn't it? Rossina will be second, I would offer you, by the next passing of the timing line. Yeah,
Rossina's been consistent, hasn't he? His pace, maybe not as quick as the Ginetta, but it's just been very strong lap after lap as he's trying to get past that 296 Ferrari challenge car. Good to get Ferrari on this GT2 grid as well, but it has lost him a lot of time. He's going to try and get the momentum down this short straight to turn 8, and then he's going to try and claim second overall with only 4 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Hard on the brakes will go Rossina, and the reigning champion comes out of turn 8, having raced Lamborghini last year, Maserati at the start of the season, now the Audi. So he's been quite peripatetic in terms of car choice, but whatever you put Stefan Rossina in, he absolutely flies. And he's about to take second place as well. The Slovak car parts magnate. Matador is his business. He's also, these days, one of the judges on the Lions Pit, which is Slovak Television's version of Dragon's Den. He's one of the Lions, and is about to make that move for second spot. Running out of corners on this lap, but there, look, he commits to the inside line, up to the hairpin. job done. Fellenius sees him coming, knows again that's not a car in his class, not one he needs to worry about. As long as he stays ahead of Pampanini, that job can be successfully done as a class win. And actually the task has been eased because Victor Mirage is ahead of Pampanini, so the leading Masters car now ahead of the second place Pro-Am entry.
Yeah, and it's been, I think, still a good stint from Fellenius, because of course his focus is the class win, of which he's done everything perfectly due to make sure that that car is going to do that for SRO Motorsport.
Right, Rossina, 9.6 seconds off Michael Nior, and well, you talk about track limit warnings, 5 for the Ginetta, only 1 for this car, and that's 5, remember, for Nior alone, because they're reset for the stint. So Michael Nior doing 5 track limit warnings in his time in the car, Stefan Rossina just 1, and David Fellenius continues to hold sway in Pro-Am. This is the Masters leading Victor Mirage. Second is Celia Martin, third is Philippe Pret, and Victor Mirage doing a good job in this car, having missed yesterday's race. It started 4th on the grid on a David Kajaya time, but did seem to fall away early on in the race. Coming up then out of turn 8, that car now powering with the Adrien Ferrer Mercedes behind. Ferrer's had a good run in this as well, hasn't he? Because that car now, if you like, back at the races, 3rd in the silver class.
Yeah, and that's the interesting bit with so many classes in GT2 now. There's 3 podiums, of course, of 3 classes, and the silver class has maybe not been as strong numbers-wise this weekend as we've seen others, and obviously the SRO Academy giving that prize to the best silver driver in that GT3 seat is a huge draw. And I think that's really why the bolstered numbers we've seen in GT2, and then the manufacturers are now following. I think Lawrence Tomlinson was saying to me they are keen to get more Ginettas out there. It's just building them is the problem for them at the moment. Demand there, but the supply hard to come by.
Adrien Ferrer about to make this move, isn't he, to try to get himself up past Victor Mirage. This is the 4th place overall, with time for another lap at the end of the one that the leader Michael Nior has just started. So Nior still ahead, and Roberto Pampanini is going to have to settle for 2nd within Pro-Am. It's too big a gap, and it's going up all the while against David Fellenius. So they're going through is Adrien Ferrer. Victor Mirage just ahead of him, and there is the Roberto Pampanini Maserati, which may yet get mugged by Celia Martin's Maserati. The gap between them is not a huge one. Marius Eigner, you can see, has fallen back in the pack, having taken over from Reinhard Koffler, and he's down to 9th now. Philippe Pret having just got past as well.
Yeah, Pret has been slightly off his normal form, I would say. I know he had the longer pit stop, but just didn't seem to have had the pace, and kind of maybe goes back to my point in Maserati having to manage an issue and be in contact there, and he's having to manage an issue now to get the car going again. Yeah,
he's just been done by Marius Eigner on the inside at turn 8, so around has gone Philippe Pret, and he does get going, but badly delayed, and we'll see whether that's done any damage. It has, yeah, it's crabbing, isn't it? So from a long way back comes Marius Eigner, a long way back, and was never fully alongside.
It's going to get done for assault and something else. I think there was no chance that move was ever going to work, and even I think Philippe Pret gave him a car width at the apex, so I don't think Pret could have done any more. But that's going to be a DNF for Philippe Pret. That rear left suspension was towing out massively. Yeah,
unless he can just limp round, because if he does, he'll drop behind this lead car, and if he can't nurse it to the flag, can he? He doesn't want to crab at all. I was thinking he might just be able to limp over the line and get points, but I don't think he can. So Philippe Pret's car clearly crippled, and he's going oh so slowly, and I don't think he's going to be able to nurse that back in any form. So Michael Nior and Ethel Gialdini on target for the win. Michael Nior, a driver like Victor Mirage, being able to convert today's pace into a good result, unlike yesterday when this was another car that didn't score. He was unable to resume the race after the red flag. Pret is nursing, he is limping, he has got the car moving, and maybe LP have been on the blower to say once that Ginetta has gone past, you can just bring it to the checkered flag. But it's easier said than done, isn't it, given how crab-like the car is.
Yeah, and you can start to do some big damage, drive shafts, gearbox, everything, and then the danger factor as well, people trying to get round, and I wonder how long race control would actually give him until they kind of instruct him, because it's going to take him a long time to even get to the finish line, which the Ginetta is about to take the checker flag for. Yeah,
the accident was at turn 8. There are 16 corners to the lap, but of course the other danger is he's got a very fast part of the circuit on which to drive. To the checkered flag comes Mikel Nior. It is a second win of the season for Mikel Nior and Ethel Gialdini outright, and it is a third class win of the season for them as well. Mikel Nior brings it home ahead of Stefan Rossina in second place. That car, after a slower pit stop with the compensation time from 6th on the grid, makes its way through for second and third. And to win Pro-Am, David Hellenius and J-Mo Hartling. Fourth will go the way just of Victor Mirage, but he's got Adrien Ferrer right up behind him, and they cross the line. A virtual dead heat between the two. And is it going to be the KTM that takes the place? It is, by 42 thousandths of a second. Adrien Ferrer had one last shot at it, used the power of the Mercedes, but had that timing line been an inch closer to turn one, it might have been a different story. As it was, Mirage hangs on by a tiny, tiny margin, and Célia Martin 6th over the line ahead of Pampanini, then Aigner, who surely is going to have some censor for the accident with this car of Philippe Pret. Lawrence Tomlinson 9th, Max Grip 10th, and Philippe Pret doing his level best to bring the car back, but as you can see, it is far from willing. Must be very strange trying to drive a car like that, because everywhere you want the car to be, it can't go there. You've got to completely reassess what you're looking at.
It's kind of making me travel sick just watching it.
Yeah.
My brain was confused with how it was moving. He may get lapped even by the leader who's taken the checkered flag. So I don't think I've ever seen that one before. And yeah, he's done a really good job. It's kind of like that new EV mode where they can tank turn cars, can't they? So he'll be able to park it in the garage quickly enough, but he's still got a good 400 meters to go to get to the checkered flag.
Assuming that the team want him to cross the line rather than limp to the pit lane. It's probably easier and safer, actually, to go over the line than try and come down the pit lane, given the narrowness of the barriers there. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Poor old Philippe Pret, then. The incident between Aigner and Pret is under investigation. What we didn't have in that race, interestingly, were that many penalties for track limit abuses. I know people were running wide, but unlike yesterday, far fewer penalties, if any penalties, given for track limit abuses, and also everyone got the pit stop right. Now, Aigner has been given a stop-go, converted to 50 seconds for causing a collision. So straight away, Aigner has been given a penalty, and Philippe Pret limps on.
Oh, over those yellows.
Ouch.
Try to straighten it up, actually.
Yes.
It's like my engineer, and get a hammer and whack it harder until it's fixed. And yeah, and it's a bizarre one. I don't know if the checker flag times out. Is the marshal going to have gone for an espresso by the time he even gets there? But the jeopardy lives on.
Yeah, I'm understanding it that you have to take the flag on the track. So that's why Philippe Pret is trying to get the car over the line and take some points, because if he does, he would be 7th in that Masters class. But it depends really whether the marshals jump onto the circuit and wave him into the pit lane. There is the winning car then, the Ginetta, Mikel Nior and Ethel Gialdini. Good drive by Stefan Rossina, and a rather happier Lorenzo Marcucci. He was cross with himself yesterday, wasn't he, for throwing away the race lead. But today, Stefan Rossina, a newcomer to the championship, Lorenzo Marcucci, taking a very well-deserved second place.
I think Pret has managed to get it into pit lane, actually, by the looks of it. Don't know if that was his decision or Marshall, so yeah. Our Pret drama has a conclusion.
He is in the pit lane, you're quite right. But he has not taken the checkered flag, so all of that could be for naught, because he will have to try and cross the timing line in the pits. If he can, he may not get that far. So, Mikel Nior and Ethan Gialdini didn't finish yesterday's race, but they win race 2. And that comes on the back of an outright win at Spa, and another result here, giving them a second victory of the season. So they will make their way to the presentation area. Second win of the season. Mikel Nior and Ethan Gialdini very happy indeed. Big haul of points in the championship. Bryn, we can see, is down there. Race winners getting their Pirelli hats sorted out. Marius Aigner tumbling to 12th place, but he still stays ahead of Pret, so it was still worth making the move.
Yeah, you could say that. See what happens in race control afterwards.
Yeah, exactly right. 50 seconds, the penalty, which was a stop and go, but converted to a time penalty. So, Mikel Nior and Ethan Gialdini take honours in race 2. Let's hear from them with Bryn.
Well, Ethan, the disappointment of yesterday of the non-classified finish there wasn't the greatest start to your weekend, but it's a great way to end it here in Misano.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, yesterday was not a good day for us. Just not finished the race at the end. So, but today, Machime did a very good job, and really happy to be on the first place for the end of the week.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, your lead at the end was pretty vast. It seemed like just bring it home, and sometimes just bringing it home can be tricky because you can lose focus, but you managed to keep the focus.
Yeah, I think it was a job well done. You know, it gets so hot in this car when the sun is shining like this, even though it's early in the morning. So it was tough in the end, but Ethan did a great job in the beginning. You know, the Mercs were flying away, but yeah, we were able to catch them in the end. And apart from that, yeah, awesome job.
Yeah, and it's great as well for the championship to kind of get it up and running.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good part for the championship at the end. So yeah, now let's focus on the next race, and we'll see what we can do at the end.
Good luck. Well done. Go and celebrate.
Thank you so much.
You saw Lawrence Tomlinson a moment ago come over and congratulate his customers, so well done to Yvan Gialdini and Michael Nior. No need for the wiper in these conditions. It was just accidentally knocked, I think, by Michael as he was thundering on, and an excellent job done by both drivers to come through for win number 2 of the season in GT2 European Series, powered by Pirelli. So it's going to be a busy race control still, with a few things to have a look at. Let's hear from our class winners and get to Nina Jade Paul.
Well, congratulations to you both, especially after yesterday, after it did not start. This win must feel good.
Yeah. This will be good. This was good. The technique is okay, and I'm happy to be first.
And you put in a really good first stint. Talk us through that.
Yeah. I tried. I did all my best. At the beginning, I gave way to pro class because we are fighting in another class, and I was careful to keep the car for Victor. And yeah, we are in P1 after yesterday DNS. Today we are happy, and thank you to you all.
And this must feel good in terms of your championship charge as well.
Yeah, of course.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Derek Kajaya, who's been in and out of the series. Victor Mirage is the regular, but it helps him no end. So the Masters class winning car missed yesterday's race. Victor Mirage and David Kajaya explaining that he was giving away places early on because it wasn't their fight. In Pro-Am, it is David Thelenius and J-Mo Hartling, the class winners, and they're with Bryn Lucas.
Big puff of the cheeks there, David. That was a tough one in the heat, but what a great result. An overall podium as well, and a class victory.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. This guy did such a good job at the beginning, got me such a good gap out there, and he just put on a master class out there, showing everybody how it's supposed to be done. So yeah, it was just a matter. It wasn't as hot today as yesterday. Yesterday was pretty brutal, but I don't mind running here in the morning like this.
Yeah, the morning's kind of bearable, isn't it? As David says, you had the hard graft. You had to kind of get that car ahead and build up the gap. The sister car, not quite so fortunate, but for yourselves, it's exactly what you needed to do.
Yeah, it was a good start. We changed position because we were thinking that Moritz were quite a bit faster. But it wasn't. So we changed back and fly together to the driver change, to the pit window, and in the end we did a great job together. And I think it's a very, very good birthday present.
Back where you probably wish you were. Go and celebrate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So a good birthday weekend for David Thelenius and J-Mo Hartling. Next stop for GT2 European Series will be Zandvoort in Holland in September. We'll see you there for this all-action season's continuation.